On November 9th, 2016, Dan Pfeiffer woke up to what he thought was the impossible. Donald Trump was elected president of the United States. Pfeiffer, Barack Obama's former communications director, seriously says he considered leaving the country. Instead, he sat down, though, and began writing a book that looks at how it happened and what's next for the Democratic Party. It's called Yes, We Still Can: Politics in the Age of Obama, Twitter, and Trump. Pfeiffer is also co-host of the popular podcast, Pod Save America. Mr. Pfeiffer joins me now from San Francisco. Hi there, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get into your book, I have to get your take on the breaking news of the day. How much do you think the charging of 12 Russian intelligence officers for hacking the Democrats in 2016 changes the game? Or how much do you think it changes the game for Donald Trump as he heads into that summit with Vladimir Putin?
Well, it's going to be awkward for Trump, who his response to the Russian hacking has always been, Putin told me he didn't do it. And now you have 12 Russian government. This is not, as Trump would say, a 400-pound hacker in his basement. This is 12 Russian government officials who have been indicted. So I think it's certainly going to make it harder for Trump to dismiss the idea that Russia intervened to elect him. And the indictment is very damning on a whole host of levels, both for Trump and for potential collusion between Trump's campaign and the Russians.
Specifically, how do you think it's damaging for collusion? Insofar as
well, it talks very specifically about Guccifer 2.0, which was a hacker account, which it was in contact with people, including Roger Stone, one of Trump's longest-serving advisors, who was in touch with Trump during and his campaign throughout the entire process. Stone had been in contact with Guccifer 2.0. There's other insinuations in the indictment about other Republican politicians and operatives, including a Republican congressional candidate, requesting and receiving stolen documents from the Russians.
Do you think it means Mr. Trump should cancel the meeting with Mr. Putin? Whether or not that will happen, but what do you think?
No, I don't. Look, I have no problem with Trump and Putin meeting. I think it is that we should meet with. I'm okay with Trump meeting with Putin. I'm okay meeting with Kim Jong-un, just as I was okay with Barack Obama communicating with Putin after the annexation of Crimea, or Barack Obama having diplomatic relations with Cuba and Iran. So I think the meeting should go forward. But what I would hope would be that this is my hope, and I know it won't happen, but would be that Trump would use this as an opportunity to demand that Putin not back off their efforts to interfere in the 2018 2020 elections, which we know are already happening. And it's unfortunate there will be no witnesses to that conversation between Putin and Trump because it's happening privately.
Okay, let me move on to your book. Yes, We Still Can. Why now? Why'd you write it now?
Well, I started writing the book the day after the election as I was trying to process what happened. And I as I was trying to figure out, because I was very certain that Trump was going to lose, like many people, Donald Trump himself included, and I was trying to figure out what happened. And so I thought back to how Barack Obama dealt with these forces that led to a world where Trump could get elected: fake news, changes in media, Republican propaganda like Fox News here in America. And I wanted to tell a story of how we dealt with those forces, where we succeeded, where we failed, and then what lessons Democrats could learn from those battles. And so it was an attempt for me to understand what happened in the election and try to find lessons for Democrats in a way that's consistent with the way our podcast, Pod Save America, works, where we can be entertaining and engaging at the same time while encouraging young people to get involved in politics.
What do you hope on that the biggest lesson learned is for Democrats going into the next election?
Well, I think there are many. I think the most important one is messaging. It is that we have to tell a compelling, consistent, disciplined story about why Donald Trump and the Republicans are wrong and why Democrats are right. And we have to do it in an inspirational, fact-based way. And I think I tell people this all the time is that, a lot of people look at Trump and they say, like, what we should follow, he won, we should follow his model. And no, we should not. We shouldn't be a paler shade of orange, if you will. We need to be the exact opposite, because Democrats do better when people are inspired to turn out to vote, and Republicans do better when people are cynical and stay home. And so we have to take a different strategy. It has to be inspirational, authentic, and audacious.
Are you worried at all about the prospects for the next election?
Oh, yes, of course. After 2016, there will never be an election I am not worried about the prospects of. I think Democrats are a slight favorite headed into the congressional elections here this fall, but only a slight favorite. And we have a lot of work to do to overcome voter suppression laws, gerrymandering, sort of the redistricting that benefits Republicans, and as well as the power of Republican propaganda. And so we have a lot of work to do. The momentum is on our side, but we got to finish the job.
Before I let you go, how key will the actual candidate be, and what prospects do you think there are?
In 2020?
Yes.
Yes, the look, it all flows from the candidate, right? And I think we have no idea today what the voters are going to want 2 years from now when people start going to the polls in these primaries to decide who the Democratic nominee will be. But we have to have a candidate who can go toe to toe with Trump, who can inspire people, particularly young people, to get involved, to vote, but to volunteer and to turn out. And I think we have good. There's about it seems like 30 Democrats are thinking of running. I think that's great. And I think among that group, there's a whole bunch who have the potential to be that candidate. So we will see where the process plays itself out. I have enough humility in politics after 2016 that I'm not going to try to tell you what's going to work in 2020. Get back here in 2018.
All right. Thanks a lot for your time, Mr. Pfeiffer. Best of luck with the book.
Awesome. Thank you so much.